Our top story at this hour, a day after being appointed as the UK Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak faced a fiery first Prime Minister's questions session in the House of Commons. Opposition leaders tried to corner Sunak over multiple issues ranging from the energy crisis, Suella Braverman's appointment as Home Secretary, to questions about his mandate and demands for a fresh general election. Leader of Opposition and Labour MP Keir Starmer began by questioning the reappointment of Suella Braverman as Britain's Home Secretary. He asked Sunak if Suella Braverman was right to resign last week for a breach of security. The Prime Minister defended Braverman, saying she had admitted her mistake and apologised.
He asked about the Home Secretary. The Home Secretary made an error of judgment, but she recognised that. She raised the matter and she accepted her mistake. And that's why I was delighted to welcome back into a united cabinet that brings experience and stability to the heart of government.
Now, as the intense exchange continued, Keir Starmer also questioned Rishi Sunak's mandate while he took a jibe at the brief term of former Prime Minister Liz Truss in office. The Labour Party maintains the UK must have fresh elections.
Only time he ran in a competitive election, he got trounced by the former Prime Minister, who herself got beaten by a lettuce. So why doesn't he put it to the test, let working people have their say and call a general election?
Rishi Sunak was prompt in his response. He reminded the Labour leader of his opposition to the 2016 Brexit vote. He went on to justify the Tory mandate won during the last general election.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about mandates, about votes, about elections. It's a bit rich coming from the person who tried to overturn the biggest democratic vote in our country's history. Our mandate is based on a manifesto that we were elected on, to remind him an election that we won and they lost. A mandate that says we want a stronger NHS, better schools, safer streets, control of our borders and levelling up. That is the mandate that I and this government will deliver for the British people.
Another crucial question was raised by a Green Party MP, Caroline Lucas. She asked the Prime Minister whether he would reverse the green light to fracking. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss had allowed extracting shale gas by this method during her tenure. Responding to the question, Rishi Sunak said he stood by the 2019 Conservative Party manifesto on the issue. Shortly thereafter, 10 Downing Street confirmed that the Prime Minister had reintroduced the ban on fracking. Former Prime Minister Truss had lifted the ban in areas where fracking was wanted, arguing that it would strengthen the country's energy supplies. Now, just ahead of the Parliament session, Rishi Sunak held his first cabinet meeting, where it was decided that the new government's fiscal plan would no longer be unveiled on the 31st of October as scheduled earlier. Instead, the crunch budget would now be presented on the 17th of November. Sunak explained the delay to his cabinet, saying it was important to get difficult decisions right and hold proper consultations. The Sunak government's fiscal statement is being keenly anticipated by the financial markets. Addressing the deep divide among the Tories, Rishi Sunak also pledged to unite his fractured party and an increasingly restive country. For more on this story, we're now joined from London by Mark Brolin. He is an economist, a geopolitical strategist and an author. Mr. Brolin, thanks so much for speaking to WION. Now, Rishi Sunak was under fire today over multiple issues, ranging from the opposition questioning his mandate to the reappointment of Suella Braverman as the Home Secretary. How do you think Britain's new Prime Minister fared during his very first Prime Minister's questions? It is early days, but is he handling the pressure well?
Yes, I think he's actually handling it extremely well. It was a robust exchange from both sides, but he stood his ground well, and they both got good points. And I think what we saw also in the chamber was that the Conservative Party was united in a way it hasn't been since Partygate. So the party was now behind Rishi Sunak in the same way the party is behind Keir Starmer. So it was more a traditional exchange, a robust exchange, but I think Rishi Sunak has had actually a flying start.
All right, you said he is handling the pressure rather well, and it looks like the Tories may finally be getting behind him. But what do you make of the fact that Rishi Sunak has put off the unveiling of the government's fiscal plan from the 31st of October to the 17th of November? Is this an attempt on his part to be better prepared or a sign of nervousness?
Well, it could be a mix of the two. The rumours are that they are planning fairly drastic cuts across the board in every department. And if they want to do that, it will be politically controversial. So they need to really get behind that story or ahead of that story. So I think they want to be more prepared, and I think a bit of nervousness as well. But I think over the last days, the nervousness is loosening a little bit. It seems like the energy crisis might not be as bad as previously seen due to the energy prices are coming down so much. So I think he has handled it well, but he's also in a bit of luck. But coming back to the budget, I think absolutely they want to be better prepared, and they're a bit nervous about how it will be received. So they will probably tackle it together with the communications team, which is not in place yet. So that will also be a second dimension to this story.
All right. And final question, Mr. Brolin, before we let you go. Rishi Sunak has reversed a controversial decision that was made by his predecessor, Liz Truss. He has reinstated the ban on fracking, something that has proven to be a highly contentious issue in the UK. Now, he says he stands by the 2019 manifesto of his party. What do you make of this decision?
Yeah, that came as a surprise. I think he possibly wants to give Liz Truss a little bit of a black eye, because it was a bit surprising, and also that it came so quickly, because it's, of course, because of the energy issue, it's slightly odd. So we'll see how this plays out, I think, over the coming days. The last word might not have been said, I think, on this issue.
Interesting. You say he might have wanted to give Liz Truss a black eye, but of course all eyes now will be on that all-important budget that Rishi Sunak and his government are going to present on the 17th of November. Clearly it is going to be very, very closely watched, critiqued, dissected and debated in that country. Thank you very much, Mark Brolin, for speaking to WION.